Attention. Please be advised. The following episode contains spoilers. Don't say we didn't warn you.
I was just saying, like, the look
on Corey's face just
I mentioned a Nolan film about flashbacks where the flashbacks literally change the dynamic of the scene, and you say, I guess.
You're going to listen to me.
Nerd on.
What's up, everybody? What's out here.
up?
Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast. You didn't need, but you deserve. Where all levels of nerd are welcome, no matter how short your shorts are.
Yeah?
Yeah. How short?
Finally,
How
I
polygon
can
your
wear.
boobs are.
I can finally wear my cutoff jeans.
Yep.
Finally.
Yes.
Like that stopped you. You've been wearing them since day one.
Doing them right now.
To explain one thing, it's like
Josh is a
3
never
a.m. It's like 3 a.m. We when movies come out and we record our episodes on the same day or same week, we have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Especially after Tom and I had 4 a.m. filming days in a row.
12-hour days.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Regardless, we still love to do this.
Irregardless.
We still love to do this. And it's just, we just find the times in the day to squeeze it in. We just wish there's maybe like another
What
hour.
we're saying is if we're a little goofier than normal, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just
what it is.
enjoy it. So what are we talking about? Oh, wait. We should probably tell people who we are.
Yes.
Yeah. Corey.
Tom.
Josh.
Ali.
And
We did it.
today,
And
we are
with our
talking-
powers combined, we are Nerd On.
Podcast. And you can find out all the information about us on our website, nerdonthepodcast.com. Something that's really special on our podcast.
Yeah.
On
To
our
podcast.
website is our Patreon. We mentioned that we love doing this, and we do. And our patrons allow us to do this. And the more patrons we have, the more we can do.
The betterer.
The better.
We do good.
The patrons
for
allow
it.
us to make us better.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
put better graphics and cooler and crispier sounds. Like it's
Yeah.
Like this one.
They helped us get lavalier mics,
Yeah.
which makes our video content so much better.
Oh, yeah. Not to mention our faces aren't
delusional.
blocked by the
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
With by like boom mics in our faces. And
Yeah.
and they also
my God.
they also
Yeah.
give us someone to talk to when we don't record on our weekly or bi-weekly basis on
Yeah.
our Discord
Discord.
server.
On the Discord. So if you want to be part of the conversation on Discord, or if you want to help us out, $2, $1, any dollar
Any nomination.
Check it out.
helps. But what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about Tomb Raider, aka
Raider.
Lara Croft. Lara or Lara? Lara Croft.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Very English.
a movie recently came out. The thing that made me really excited.
Some may call it a reboot.
yeah.
Some may.
sure.
The thing that made me really excited. It was at the beginning of the film had Square Enix.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That is super dope. I've been a big fan of Square Enix, and hands down, probably the best cinematics in any video game franchises are from Square Enix.
Yeah. Very memorable.
That
So-
and Blizzard, I would say. Are
Yeah, I was going to say
the
that.
two
So-
kings.
I mean, we had
Queens.
World of Warcraft, but I mean, this isn't that episode. So we have Tomb Raider today.
Mhm.
Let's get this party started, right?
Yeah.
The
So
ball
what's our
rolling.
initial reactions?
I actually really enjoyed it. I am someone, I told this to Tom, I said going in, I think I had low expectations because video games and movies do not have the loving relationship that
Yeah.
I would hope they would have.
Yeah.
They kind of had the same relationship as
yeah.
comic book and movies, like back in the
Like in the 80s and 90s.
yeah,
But
even 70s.
this was, I think, a perfect culmination of the two. It had some moments in there. I'm going to throw this one out that stood out to me for video game fan service. When the guy runs by the yellow barrels marked flammable and they get shot and they exploded.
Yep.
I literally jumped out of my seat. I was like, yes!
When the ship is about to hit the rock at the beginning, and then she looks up, it's like interactable object,
Yes.
object.
Yeah.
Take it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought this was, a really, really fun movie. Like a really fun movie. And I will say this right now. If they are coming out with a sequel, I'm there. I'm
Yeah.
100% there.
Absolutely. I have to say, coming out of the theater, I was like, man, I want to go play those Tomb Raider games now.
Oh, yeah.
Because I played through part of the first one, and that's it. I haven't played the second one.
Like first
the
or the
reboots?
Of the reboots,
Okay.
yeah. of
Yeah,
the Square
same.
Enix
I'm
one.
the same as you. I played through the first one, but not the second one yet.
Yeah. And this, I'm like, dude, color puzzles and like her bow and arrow and like
Yeah.
sneak it through
I
the-
went home and it's downloaded now. Like it's,
Nice.
I went on my Xbox app and I was
Nice.
like, download, done.
Awesome.
Joshy Josh?
But yeah, I loved it.
I'm in the same boat. I mean, I've sometimes when I'm preparing for these shows, you'll get into the click hole or the black hole, as I will call them, of what people think about movies. And that's why we have said from the beginning, we're not a review show.
Yep.
We're just talking about, so on that point, spoilers. There will be some
100%.
Yeah.
some
Oh, yeah.
spoilers.
We have that in our opening.
question.
Yes. I really, really liked it.
Mhm.
I have like minuscule qualms. They're just tiny, stupid things. But throughout the whole thing, I was like, this is a lot of fun. Like, I was like, this is a pleasant surprise.
It's a good popcorn flick.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that, like I've said, and you guys make fun of me for, a movie, you take it as it is. If it entertains me, then great. And that's all it really was meaning to do in my mind. I'm the naive
Gave
kid.
you a place to have fun and like not think about your actual life, but like
Yeah, and
live through
it's-
her life.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. We'll talk a little
It's
bit
kind of
more
like what
of
the games do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So for me, the guy, the grump, the film
the
snob,
gruntacular.
yeah, grump man. It's funny because I always have to see where the happy medium or marriage between video game fan service and then also good filmmaking. Where do they meet?
Yeah.
And which one takes more precedent at the time? However, for this film, like I watched it, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the development of this character. I enjoyed like what they honored from the video games, what they took liberties from, how they tried to meet the major movie audiences,
Mhm.
where a video game audience didn't have to have certain things that this film made. And
And you also didn't have to be a video game fan to enjoy the movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love Alicia Vikander. She's a Bay for Day for me.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She shares my birthday.
Is it
October 3rd.
Alicia Vikander or is it Alicia Vikander?
It's Alicia Vikander.
Okay.
I've been watching a lot of her interviews lately. Research when I, swoop in when, her and
It's
Fassbender
not
do it.
stalking, it's research.
Is it? Facebook stockings on fleek. But I mean, I think it would serve to do like a little brief like history. I think of the character and the genre as a whole.
Yeah.
So I mean, at first, like Lara Croft came out because of the rage of like Indiana Jones,
Yeah.
and then a company called Eidos. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Started
Eidos, maybe?
Eidos started making these games, and
I
there
think
was
it's Eidos.
Eidos.
No, I'm kidding.
Eidos,
I have no
Eidos,
idea.
Eidos. They made
I'm just going to call it dose. The I is
Dose.
silent.
Eidos.
Crystal Dynamics
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
developers.
And they would make a new game every year, and that
There's
was
a lot of them.
crazy. And the last one was the Angel of Death or something like that, Angel of Darkness.
For their time, they were good games.
They were all
Yeah.
critically acclaimed, and I think over the course they all sold about 63 million.
It's
Yeah.
a lot.
So it was
I
like
played a lot of them on my blue Mac
Yeah.
that I had.
Yeah.
coming
Like the
out
see-through.
of
They're in
Sega
the
Saturn,
computer.
PlayStation. These first gen games where it's like, oh, polygon. So I mean, there's that joke
Yeah.
with the polygon boobs and stuff like
Yeah. Funny story on that. Apparently that was like a rendering error
that. Mm-hmm.
that they they didn't have time to fix.
Fix,
That
quote
enlarged-
unquote, air quotes, all
They're-
that.
Just go with it.
That
Errors.
enlarged them a little bit more than they needed to be, but
200%.
yeah, exactly.
Oopie.
Someone put extra 0 at the end.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, at first, the character is really supposed to encapsulate this action adventure, like solving puzzles, going through tombs, and escaping things. Just like Indiana Jones, there's a
Yeah.
bit of mystery and spectacular wonder,
And
like
badassery.
yeah,
A
fighting
little bit of
monsters,
supernatural.
yeah,
Yeah.
fighting monsters, and like doing light, puzzles and stuff like that,
Yeah.
like opening entrances. But then once the guy who actually created it, I forget his name, but was not part of the creative team anymore, then they started sexualizing her, and she
Mhm.
became an icon at first, but then now she was sadly like more like put in a lower denotation
Yeah.
in some senses.
Started making like B-list games.
Yeah,
Because they were
exactly.
like, people want to see more of her.
And
Yeah.
then henceforth the Angelina Jolie films came out, still rocking the short shorts, the blue like
tank top.
tank top thing with the two handguns.
Mhm.
And it was very much still the movies are still pretty much in the same vein of like action adventure and sex appeal and cool and being badass, which I thought was really cool as a kid growing up. And then the reboots came out. and then
Yeah.
Square
Yeah.
Enix
2013.
took over the
Huge deal.
rights, and it took over this young Lara Croft who really didn't have as much
It was an origin. It was an origin story.
As
Came off the heels
experience.
of
I like the way you
success
said
of-
it. It was the Batman Begins of Lara Croft.
Yeah. It came off the heels of the success of the Uncharted series, I think.
Mhm.
They took a lot of cues, I think, from
Yeah.
that series.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like they played off of each other because, like, it's kind of like saying, this is gonna sound so stupid, but like saying like, oh, Pearl Jam sounds like Creed, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
Creed sounds like Pearl Jam. Thank you very much. Where it's like if somebody was going to be like, oh, Tomb Raider is just like Uncharted. No, excuse me, sir.
If there was no Tomb Raider, there would have been no Uncharted.
And without Indiana Jones, and we could go further.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
further.
there's this great
Well,
growth of
I mean, there's trade-offs. I think like Uncharted might be a little bit better at the storytelling aspects of things.
Yeah.
And like Tomb Raider has
More survival.
much deeper progression and like
I always saw the Tomb Raider games as kind of a mix of, like you said, Indiana Jones meets Uncharted meets like Zelda a little bit.
Yeah.
Where there's a lot more puzzle solving going on.
oh yeah.
I guess what I would say is I didn't play the first iterations of the games very much.
Mm-hmm.
I
played
did
the
play
remake?
them.
Or the
I did
reboots?
when they were
Oh, yeah.
originally
I don't
on
think I
like
even completed a single one of them.
like PlayStation 2. Like I did play them, but they weren't like my jam.
Mhm.
Like I didn't get way into them.
Oh, they were
And,
mine.
Yeah, I mean they're cool and everything,
Yeah.
but there were other games to play.
Yeah.
Especially the first two I played mostly.
Yeah. And then you have the reboots, which I really enjoy. And I guess what I'm going to say is my favorite aspect of I know that this isn't Tomb Raider video game episode, but this kind of has to do with that because it loosely is based off the 2013
100%.
game.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
what I found with the reboot of the series of Tomb Raider is it's a little bit more, I'm going to put the term realistic,
Yes.
so to speak.
Grounded.
Grounded.
Yeah.
It's grounded.
Because you face actual danger. You die
Right.
for almost everything, and it's a gruesome, terrible, terrible death.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the only reason like Indiana Jones works is you're dealing with a magical Ark of the Covenant that when taken off melts people's faces. But everything else throughout the movie is completely realistic. If some guy gets hit by an airplane blade, he explodes with blood
Yeah.
everywhere. Do you know what I mean?
Everywhere.
So they walk a fine line, and I think they did it in the game and especially in this movie really well, where you're dealing with sort of mystical things, but everything else around it is so grounded and so real
Mhm.
that you're like, okay, in this world, they believe that everything else has been really real. I believe it now too.
Yeah.
Like when she gets hit by a car, she actually gets hurt.
Yes.
Yeah.
She doesn't just walk away from it.
I think that's what I really enjoyed about it was that it was kind of grounded and it kind of felt like at the beginning, it almost felt like an independent British movie.
Yeah.
In a weird way. And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I can kind of like settle into this and this is interesting. I can dig this. And for me, I'm kind of torn between, and we'll get to qualms and stuff, but it's not really a qualm. I don't think, but it's like, I think this is the best like Tomb Raider movie we could get.
Mhm.
In a
Tomb
way.
Raider Origin, yeah.
Right. But I think as a film, like as like character development, it could have been deeper.
Mhm.
It could have been more interesting and
Yeah.
and a bit, I don't know, like I felt like it needed to fulfill the tropes of Tomb Raider,
Mhm.
but at the same time, I'm completely torn because I loved every single one of those
Yeah.
things.
So like the thing is, Alicia has a really great charisma. She brings together, like she is the perfect
she killed it,
casting
yeah.
for that role.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think there were some moments where, and maybe Tom, you'll touch on this, and I'll hand it off to you here. We actually enjoyed a lot of her development and foreshadowing,
Mhm.
and maybe you can kind of take it from there.
I do want to say before we start going into the
Yeah,
film that the Tomb Raider reboot, the 2013 version of it, was the highest selling video game. So I mean, like this new version
Oh, yeah.
of Lara Croft was like
It's very popular. Doing
very
very well.
popular
Yeah.
by demand. 11 million copies. So,
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, it
she's
was
wearing pants.
And the
huge.
third one was just
Pants?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. The third one was just announced. So I mean, I think this is a renaissance for this character, and I think what a better time. Like
Oh my
what
God,
a great
we
time for
Need Lara Croft.
such a cool character. Because I mean, Uncharted's kind of going away, and then like Tomb Raider's now like could take the fucking mantle.
Mhm.
So I'm
Yeah.
really
And from a
excited.
social climate
Exactly.
Yeah.
viewpoint, I think it's important.
Well, I mean, what you could say is that with the Uncharted series is like Nathan Drake is kind of going away. It's like the DLC was a
Mhm.
female character,
Mhm.
Mhm.
which was pretty flippin' sweet.
Yeah.
And so now, yeah, we do need a strong female character that isn't sexualized, that isn't like this.
We need a new Ripley.
Yeah.
But also
yeah.
isn't badass from the ground up.
Yeah.
Like had to earn it.
Yeah.
Which I love the most. But wouldn't that be fucking dope if Nathan Drake and Tomb Raider had a fuck? Anyways.
I always thought about it.
There's posters for this movie that say survive really large. And I'm like, yep, that's pretty much this movie.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the one thing I really liked. I want to go into the movie, but I would say like the stark difference between the old Tomb Raider and the new Tomb Raider was the fact that this added survival mechanics into it.
Yeah.
Like you had to create a stronger bow. You had to like some of the things that you buy with your experience points were better hand-to-hand fighting skills. Where in like Tomb Raider, other things were like buying new gadgets and stuff like that, or like finding things like that. But I mean, they both had the same tropes of like, here's this random artifact that like if you just play with it more and then like progress the game, you would learn how to like fix other puzzles and stuff like that.
Yeah. I just the instant she said it's a color puzzle, I was just like, I was kind of giddy and I was like, that's so like every little part of this movie made me want to just like run out of the theater and go like find my closest like PS4 controller.
That's what I'm saying.
It
It like I said, it's 9 times out of 10 a video game movie will fail.
Yeah. So
9 times out of 10 it's trash.
Yeah.
There was a Halo movie. There was one made. It was like direct to video. It's trash. It was awful.
And then the District
Broke my
9
heart.
had all the assets. Supposedly was going to be a.
Someday we'll
Halo
get
movie.
it. Someday the right team will come along. We'll get that Halo movie. Anyway, Tomb Raider, the movie.
I really enjoyed this film because, I mean, I just wanted to see a character, and it was really weird when I was watching the film. I really kind of started looking at it like Batman Begins. Started like while I was watching, I was thinking about Indiana Jones, Romancing the Stone, like these older adventure things. But then like with Batman Begins as well, like these male strong roles, and then this character gets to be that. But then there was different dynamics involved, you know, like there didn't have to be a romantic interest, you know, like instead I just got to see this character like, you know,
That was
like,
very refreshing.
The one thing I loved about Joseph Campbell's, you know, hero's journey is like you hear the call to adventure, and it's like, how is she going to go to the call to adventure? It's like, here's this puzzle. And for me, I absolutely love puzzles. I'm a huge puzzle, like give me something, I'll try to figure it out in like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And the fact that this person is like Lara Croft is also in that sense. Just from the very beginning, you get to know everything about her without having to. From the age of 7, she did this and went to this school and blah blah blah. Here's her.
You get
like,
a little
told
exposition
it well.
sprinkled in.
Well, it's like she could fight. Boom. She's
She's broke as shit.
She's
Boom.
broke. She can't get out of a chokehold. She's doing these running jobs. Like
She's cunning.
She's attracted. Like people are attracted to her. Like she has this job. She has resources that she's not utilizing. It's like you're all given these things without being like, oh, here.
It's not spoon fed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she wants to prove herself.
It was. I don't know. It was well.
Like-
it was well done.
Like I loved the fox hunt
yeah.
because it showed you everything you need to know about her survivability. She's cunning. She's fast. Like the fact that she jumped on the truck to hide the paint was brilliant. And immediately, while the truck is still moving, jumps off on the bike and keeps going. I was like, cool. So she's brave. She's cunning. She's quick. I thought it was a brilliant way to show it.
And in terms of like action beats, like it had enough action beats where it's like, oh, this is more development of like just tell us who she is, how she responds to conflict, but also to show just a little bit more badass she is without having us to show like,
And she's not shaken at all by going to jail.
without us
like, whatever.
seeing like a training montage of like how does she become badass? Like, oh no, she just grew up.
Scene 1, she's got abs. Go.
I have to say, yeah, right. I have to say, I think she's probably one of my favorite or best examples of like a strong female like role or lead.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like even more so than like Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Like I just really enjoyed watching her like become Tomb Raider, Lara Croft, whatever, you know.
I think her, I reference Ripley all the time from Alien because she's probably one of my favorite female heroes.
Yeah.
But she's probably right underneath Ripley for me.
I think I like her a little bit more, maybe because she's a little bit younger and I can maybe relate to her struggles a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think
it's because Ripley saved a cat. And I really like that.
Let's be real here.
She saved a cat throughout the whole thing.
I thought what I loved about this movie, like I mentioned before, was the realistic part of it and the more groundedness to it. Like I also watched the predecessors after I had seen this one, to prepare for this episode, and it was very interesting to see the difference because you have to take some things in mind. those ones came out 2001.
The era.
The era.
The Matrix era.
yes.
When she was 26.
You've got like like those kind of fight scenes that are just like she's walking
fighting
around.
a robot. She's like on a string. She has this like flowy shirt, which is like a John Woo look. It's like
and then she got that silver spandex onesie.
What I'll say is really hot. I'm gonna say it's like unapologetically, but I mean like this is like James Bond cool sexy thing.
Yeah, and so what I liked about this one was that because I was thinking about it after I saw it, I was like, I don't want to call her not badass because she was badass. That's the thing is it's like when you think of Angelina Jolie was badass. But Alicia Vikander was
a
different kind of badass. She was badass, but she was like true. She had to earn her
badass
stripes.
card.
Things hurt.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't. I mean, she made
cries.
it through things. She screams.
She cries when she kills the first person ever.
Yeah.
She cries. She has a moment where she's like, "I just fucking killed someone."
I would say a good comparison is that Jolie is a femme fatale. Like she was. It was like she popped out the womb. She was badass. Like
she killed the doctor,
killed guys. Like you know, like she has that demeanor. Like I can kill you with my eyes or my words before I even touch the gun.
Let me throw this at you. Would you say that Vikander is to Jolie as Brosnan is to
Craig?
Ooh.
I would not because Craig looks like he could beat up Brosnan.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
you don't think Vikander can beat up Jolie?
Well, I mean, I feel like in the iterations of the two, like Angelina Jolie's Skill Raider, she's shooting a robot. She's beating up a robot.
Is that the same one where she's like she's like jumping from balcony to balcony and like spinning and shooting people?
Yeah, she's like insane. Equilibrium, curving bullets.
Yeah. Crystal Method will just come on real loud and Vikander will just like be super confused as to what's happening.
Yeah. Well, it's like those kinds of fights.
It's like she's on PCP. Like it's what it's
and what I'll say is like Vikander, she's surviving. She's literally like
she's more cunning. She's more cunning where Angelina Jolie's is more like fucking Matrix.
In a better comparison of Bonds, it would be like Vikander is like Craig, where he gets beaten up and crap like that. But then Jolie is, R.I.P. to
Roger
Moore, who is like playboy, sexy, like got the suit, never gets dirty. Like you don't see him really struggle too much.
Yeah.
Like it's just like he is perfection. Like and then like this Lara Croft perfection. Like, but then this one we get real bruised up people.
Funny enough, Daniel Craig is in the first
Tomb Raider.
Oh, yeah.
I saw him and I was like, oh, he's so little.
What a young gentleman. Another interesting fact is I didn't know Angelina Jolie was 26 when she did her.
Yeah.
And Alicia's 29.
Yeah.
So I mean that age difference to me also changes the character a little bit. I mean because I'm that age as well, so I relate. I was like when I found that I was like, oh. Yeah, that makes sense. All the things she's doing in her day-to-day life.
Whereas I am closer to Angelina Jolie.
I'm broke as shit. I get it.
Well, what I liked also too, the realism is that she chose her brokenness.
Mm-hmm.
She could be.
Well, it's a good reflection of like our own modern society nowadays.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, she chose it because it was as long as she didn't sign that paper,
her father was still alive.
Her dad was still alive, which he was.
So she was
so good for her. It's the first thing I would have said when I got back. By the way, assholes, I was right.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping searching for my dad.
And I think one thing I really did like is that I did have experience playing the new rebooted games and how similar this was. Like in terms of the world building, like it's raining.
Well, even her clothes and her bandage on her arm.
Yeah, like the way she looked, she had the tank top without no belly.
The look I think is like super spot on.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of like negativity about that, like about it being too close and like even coworkers that I would ask and they would say, I'm not going to see it. It's the same story as Tomb Raider. I'm just going to go play Tomb Raider.
It wasn't.
But it's not.
It was so good.
And so what?
So don't. So hey, do us a favor. Don't watch any Harry Potter movies. Don't watch. How about you just don't watch anything? Because you know what? I guarantee most things now are just adapted from books, comics, TV shows, or movies, or reboots from before. So like the idea there's no such thing as original ideas is actually really common. But it's like how they do it. Mm-hmm. Are we at a place where it can be retold better? Are we at a place where technology looks better, where the robot doesn't look that bad? Because I would love to see Alicia Vikander fight against a robot, just a really cool looking robot.
I also want to talk a second about Lou
Ren.
I Loved him.
He was such a fun character.
I'll talk a little bit more in depth when we get to our quality comments, but I thought he was a great character from start to finish. I thought I liked the fact that it wasn't a romantic thing. There was one moment where I thought it was going to be, and I was like, God damn it! But then it didn't.
At the edge of the boat where like they both can't sleep.
No, there was one.
There was a moment at the towards the end where shit is getting real, and there was like this weird connection thing that.
No. It was
wrong.
It was more towards that scene. It was like right before that scene. The way he looks at her at one point, and I was like, "Don't do it."
Because she's like fiddling with like the map and learning.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Was it when she was pulling the sail?
Oh yeah.
Yep, that's when it was.
I kind of saw that as like she can hold her own.
I did afterwards, but for a moment I was like, "Please don't."
Well,
do
I
it.
mean, like, okay, I'll speak for the Asian males in the room. Me. I fell in love with her when I was looking at her, and I mean that's a film thing too. Is like there is such thing as the male gaze, where like that is the thing, the gaze. But then there's always conversations like, do women have room for a gaze onto men? Of course there is. Yeah. But like when a counterpart's looking at another one, it's like it's hard not to find the pattern of like they're probably falling in love. Mm-hmm. But like
I'm glad
they didn't breach that.
I think she was more playing with him like in that night scene. Yeah, sweet dreams and everything.
Well, I think it also shows again. The first guy when she's delivering the food from that one restaurant, and she's like, "Go ask her," and then he doesn't have the balls to ask her, and then she just rides off like she's an attractive woman, and so like guys will look at her differently than they would look at other characters might.
Yes. I mean, come on.
I fell in love with her in Ex Machina.
Have you seen Ex Machina?
And she was bald and half robot.
I was all about it.
Well, yeah, Daniel Wu. Yeah. I liked him in Into the Badlands, and he's fucking badass in that. But what I like about like Into the Badlands is he's like, I'm too old to be doing this. Why do you want me to be this character in Into the Badlands? And so I liked watching him in this because he didn't have all of his martial arts stuff, and it wasn't like
crazy.
Asian
dude that drunk.
Yeah.
And that introduction was phenomenal.
Yeah. I
enjoyed
enjoyed
switch from
him.
Chinese to American was just like the greatest thing in the world.
And what is he doing? He's not holding a sword. He's not holding like an Uzi.
Shotgun.
He's holding a shotgun. Mm-hmm. He's wearing
a rifle.
Yeah.
And then he eats shit. I loved that fall. That fall to me was the perfect. I was like, I know everything I need to know.
In a weird tangent, I almost like this was how I would kind of want like a Spike Spiegel to look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could work.
That could work for me.
But like,
I actually know that reference now.
Good.
Yay!
Someone's seen something.
That means we're gonna do an episode someday.
Yes.
But you heard it here first.
As important as I feel like, you know, I think we're coming to this renaissance of films now, like Wonder Woman doing great, Black Panther doing great. I think one thing I really liked about this film specifically was that like we had an Asian guy that didn't fucking have martial arts. He didn't have to like.
He didn't speak broken English.
He didn't speak broken. I know I'm trouble. It's like, you know what I mean? I love Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan is doing his best, Tom.
He is. But I'm just saying, I could.
He's brought laughs to millions. And how dare you throw him under the bus?
An Asian
that he would probably grab onto and ride for 4 stops.
And break his leg and still keep doing it.
Just keep going.
Anyway.
But I could use an Asian actor that's like seen as like, he's pretty good looking. He speaks English well. Like someone that's like, oh,
are you saying Jackie Chan's not good looking?
I swear to God, Corey, you're going to twist all my words. You're turning into
just
Tom
like
2.0.
Jackie Chan would twist your arm for saying such things.
Jackie Chan is a good looking dude, and he kissed Jennifer Love Hewitt, which was a goal of mine. But I mean, which is pretty dope. But I mean,
kiss Jackie Chan?
Yeah.
And one of those like,
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Was it one of those spy movies?
It was the Tuxedo.
Oh God.
What a lucky woman.
She is.
She needs to be
to kiss Jackie Chan, I mean.
Anyways,
speaking of
so Daniel Wu, a Chinese actor playing a Chinese dude, you know, like they actually got like casting for like the role correct. They didn't have to do like a white dude playing him or like some other Asian flavor Asian playing a Chinese dude. They got a Chinese dude playing Chinese dude. It's like perfect. Does he have to do martial arts? No. Does he have to speak Chinese? No. He could just be there.
And he's a badass character too. Tom and I talked about this a little bit before we got here. The moment where he just looks at her and he goes, "Ready?"
Yeah.
And is willing to, like, literally willing to die to make sure that she gets out of there.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, this guy's the fucking, I mean,
they're friends. I like that part. They weren't lovers. They were friends. They were buddies in that. And he was like, I got you.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I got you.
Which plays a lot to the games where, like, she's on a boat with the crew and all of them are just friends. And throughout the entire game, she's just trying to save her friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And this one, cool. She's just trying to find out what happened to her dad, and then now trying to save her friends.
And so
like, it's not about like, I need to go find my
But like he just straight up is willing to get shot to make sure she gets out. I thought that was great.
That was really the most unexpected part for me. It was like, oh, now they're gonna do this. I think to Ollie's point, it's like I wish there would have been longer stuff. Like I thought I was like, oh, now they're gonna get stuck overnight and they got to figure out what they're gonna do. And then
we thought there was gonna be a scene where like we gotta get out of here. I got an idea.
Yeah, like that kind of thing. But it's just like, oh, we find each other. You ready? Oh shit! Yeah, it's about to go.
Shit's about to get real. They probably could have used an extra 10 minutes or 5 minutes or something, like a scene of
like a love scene,
like after work. When it's nighttime or something like that.
Yeah. I was fine with it, to be honest. I like the fact that they were like, we don't really have a plan. You ready? Yeah. Let's fucking do this shit. Because all of this was unexpected. So let's just roll with it. It goes back to his same thing at the end where everyone's leaving and he's like, no, I gotta make sure that she gets out. She's the only person I came here with.
But yeah, there's still that kind of like that bro kind of thing, which I like about that. He's like, no, I'm here. I'm gonna protect my friend.
It's my best friend.
Yeah, it's my only friend.
In a sense, she like saved his life because he was probably gonna drink himself to death.
Yeah.
So,
and I like how like he had like a Han Solo feel, like where like he's more because she ends up making him agree to go on this devil's triangle, which is actually supposed to be the dragon's triangle, with whatever 1,000 pounds that she might have, and he's like, what do you have in the other boot?
Yeah, I like that line.
Yeah,
again, you have that cool side character,
two very charismatic characters.
Yeah.
They just played really well off each other.
Speaking of charismatic characters, talking about Mr. Walton Goggins.
Good old Goggins.
Oh my God.
Walton Goggins.
He's one of my favorite actors that is in everything, but nobody knows who he is. And now he's starting to get the acclaim that he deserves because he's fucking amazing.
He's one of those guys that I just like smile every time I see him, like come on screen.
I was telling Corey on the way here, I was like, I put him in the same category as like a Michael Shannon or a Ben Foster.
Oh yeah.
It's like they're so not appreciated as much as they should be.
Yeah.
Their talents outweigh their appreciation.
Every time they're in something, they kill it.
Like Sam Rockwell used to be in that category.
Yeah.
Until he won an Oscar.
And then he was just...
Can I tell you when it happened? I screamed when he won an Oscar. Real side tangent. Sam Rockwell, I love you. Anyway.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Shout out to Sam Rockwell.
But he was probably one of the most interesting parts of Justified.
Yeah.
Like his
And I don't know if anyone watched Vice Principals, but he's phenomenal in that.
I fell in love with him after Hateful Eight.
Which is hard to do because he's outshining Danny McBride. Who usually steals any show he's in, and Walter Goggins outshines him. And I was like, well done, sir.
Yeah.
And so him in this movie,
his character's great.
Which was really interesting because, I mean, again, we're talking about films, video game films, right? And they have this like, this air, this smell, this taste in like film where it was like, it may not do well, right? And so, I mean, but the thing is like every actor I feel like in this film brought their A game. Specifically with him, like the one thing I loved about this thing was like, in video games, we're kind of okay with the one-dimensional characters. We're kind
especially
of
bad guys.
Because it's like cool. Like again, comparing to the video games, like we wouldn't care if you're a video game audience. You wouldn't care that Tomb Raider or Lara Croft is this badass girl who's on this ship going someplace. Like you don't need that exposition of like, but why is she going? Where does she come from?
That's what I sound like when I play games. That's why he's doing that voice.
Get out of my head.
In a movie, you needed like, oh, well, here's her origin story, and it's like, who's this villain?
Here's
it's like,
her motivation.
Where it's like, when you say like
refreshing was that like how he was just a solid bad guy.
Yeah,
like he didn't have a philosophical view of how the world should.
He just wanted to get home to his kids.
He's still relatable. Yeah, exactly. He's a bad dude.
To get home.
It's literally the antithesis of Lara Croft's dad, right? So they're both in the same situation. They're both on this fucking island, away from their families.
I'd say they're foils.
Okay, sure.
They're very similar, but they're different in the way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a good way to say it. And where you have Lara's dad who has sacrificed his own life and his family to make sure that they're safe and that they're okay and that the world is fine. He's on the other end of that spectrum where he's like, I just want whatever the fuck it does to the rest of the world. I just want to go home to see my family. It's been 7 goddamn years since I've been here.
Can I please go?
And if you're not
home?
A part of that plan, I will fucking kill you.
But he had
bullet to your head.
Like no nonsense. Yeah. It was like he had no patience.
He's just ready to go home.
Yeah. He was like, interesting enough, I want to compare him to interesting that he was on Justified with Timothy Oliphant, going back to
Hitman.
I never thought I would reference this movie as a critical thing.
Yeah.
But
Die Hard
Live Free or Die Hard.
Yeah. Live Free or Die Hard.
No.
No. But I'm not giving it praise. I'm saying he's like the polar opposite of a bad guy.
Yeah.
Compared to Timothy Olyphant.
Yep.
Because he was just like a weak kind of like, and he had this weird like viewpoint of the world and, his whole like motivation.
Justified was amazing for everybody. I mean, it's almost Shakespearean, the dialogue. The dialogue was just amazing to watch, but I'm glad that you brought it up. But Walton Goggins in that is incredible. And so you see, and that's what I got started on Walton with. And so seeing him in things like nowadays.
Hateful Eight and stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, yes, because he has a delivery. He just has this way that he handles dialogue well. He is just so good at what he does. And anyway.
The cool thing about him, I feel like you lose him. Yeah. He's not Walton Goggins. Like he is that character.
He transforms.
Like there are certain characters like that's Channing Tatum. That's fucking Channing Tatum. That's who he is. He's Channing Tatum with the cowboy hat.
You don't see what I'm saying? That's Channing Tatum.
Like sometimes you just don't see him, and that's I think what happens with stars, and that's why I love some actors who like to shroud themselves in mystery because they care more about the character than themselves. But I mean, to your point, Ollie, I think the one thing I liked was his true motivation is to get back home, and he's willing to do everything to go back home to see his daughters. Yeah. But like. The road to hell is the road to hell is paved in good intentions.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So it's like he's willing to do whatever it takes to get there, kill everyone.
He's been there for 7 years.
Bring this plague back to to whomever he works for. Yeah. Which we'll talk about a little bit.
Could you imagine being stuck on an island for 7 years when you thought, it's just going to be like a few months?
No.
And I just got to do this one thing, find this one thing.
Well, I've been single for like 7 years, so I feel like it's kind of
true. That's a really good, good comparison.
I feel like
it's interesting to when movies like this come up. I think like with Walton's character, what would you do? Mm-hmm. It's like, what would you do if you're like, I'm just going on this like expedition kind of thing, and I just got to find this thing, and then I get to go home.
Nope,
that's it. I get to go home now, right?
7 years later.
And you
7
have
years is a long
Dominic
time.
West's character just like fucking with you the entire time. And
oh my God.
Like the different parts of the island.
I'm also a really big fan of his.
Dominic West, yeah.
Since
He's good.
the first time I saw him, I think was 300.
Yeah.
But everything he's been in since then was fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know he's in the Wire.
He was in the Wire. He was in the.
I think I was just too young to watch that the first time around.
He was in the Punisher Warzone, and he became Jigsaw.
Chicago, that's right.
Yeah,
looking at his IMDb. Right
I really liked him a lot too, and
I forgot about him in Chicago.
Yeah, he's the boyfriend at the beginning.
Yeah. Oh man. There's something about him that is just very endearing, especially as a dad. His second time around with Alicia Vikander.
That's true.
Yes,
that is true.
Just like those 4 cast members, so well cast.
Oh yeah.
Well, I really liked. It was funny because like Corey and I were talking about like.
Who am I forgetting?
Daniel.
Were you talking about Alicia Vikander, Daniel Wu, Walton Goggins, and then Dominic West?
Oh, I can't count. That's all.
Simon Pegg.
That's all.
Simon Pegg.
Well, I mean,
Nick Frost. Nick Frost. Oh my God. Seeing him pop up was great. Those scenes were great. I just want to throw
it was kind of a fun thing for me. Did you guys ever watch Spaced?
Yeah.
No.
Where he likes drowning Lara Croft when he's depressed. Yeah, Simon Pegg.
I was like, one
of the character's things is that when he's depressed, he gets joy in repetitively like drowning the character.
Everybody has to watch Spaced. Okay. Yeah. That's something that I got. Skip to the end. When somebody's telling a long story, skip to the end.
It's pretty great. I think it was 1999 or something like that.
Yeah. One thing that I really did, it was kind of funny because I really expect like the moment I think after Lara Croft kills the first guy that tracks her down.
Yeah.
And then she sees her dad, but you just see a silhouette. I literally just leaned over the course like, Dad.
We both were just like, I was like, yep,
this is the dad. I guarantee it. And but the one thing I didn't expect was that he ran away, and then he was like, ignore it, they'll all go away. And I was like, oh shit!
Like he's
gone full on cray.
That's cool. I thought that was kind of cool.
I did like the line. I thought you left. He goes, usually it's you who disappears. And I was like, oh, I thought it was going to be when Tom and I both had that like dad moment at first. I was like, guys, it's going to be your fucking dad. I was like, this is going to be cheesy as shit. Yeah. And I thought it was going to be at first. And then the more time they spent together and the more he became a not just a like, oh, look, it's the dad. Like in a video game, that would be like Tom said, In a video game, you'd be like, oh shit, he's been on the island for 7 years. But in a movie, you're kind of like, well, he's been on the island for 7 years. Like, what the fuck? But then he became important to the plot. Like they never got the door open without the dad. Like she would have just been like, I'm just gonna shoot you now with my bow and arrow because I'm a fucking badass. But then he's bait, and the whole time they keep him alive because once they open the door, she would have been like, I gotta find a way to kill everybody. But her dad's there, so she's like, I can't kill everybody. So it really gave it the movement it needed, because she was like, all right, then we solve the tomb and then we go home. Let's just do that.
It's a proper plot point.
Her motivation.
It's a proper plot. Yeah, I didn't want to call him a plot device because that sounds
It's a proper
cheap.
plot point.
Yeah. So once they injected him into the plot like that, I was totally fine with it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny. I mean, watching this movie, I was like, I kind of wanted to like have a controller in my hand to feel like this is what I would do at this point.
There was a few POV scenes where I was like, where's the controller?
Yeah.
Because like, I hate escort missions. I absolutely hate escort missions. And then when they're walking,
nobody likes them.
When they're walking through the tunnel, I was like, I would like my Lara Croft character might still have a weapon on her. I was like, I would just try to punch him. Like, you know, like you're in that moment in a video game where you're like, you have to work with the villain. You're like, I could, and then you're just walking through the plot point that's the scripted dialogue, and you're like, I would just punch him right now.
And you're just
punch. No, that's when
you
they would
can
take
only
away
walk.
those
You
commands.
can't run at that
You
point.
have to walk.
You can't even you can't choose anything. It says like crafting is not available.
Yeah, no, exactly. The only thing you can do is press pause. You're like, I want to just hit you. It's like I could end this right now. My dad and I could take a couple hits.
You mean the escort missions where you're being escorted and you can't do anything? I was talking about escort missions where you have to get somebody somewhere safe.
Oh yeah,
and I hate those because they're either going to be A, really easy, or B, really hard, and you're like, what did I do?
And then you're just walking, and you're like, could you follow? Could you follow? Could you follow? Could you follow? Please just follow me. God. And they're just getting,
you have to keep giving the command.
Help me.
Well, they can take a few bullets.
Exactly.
I'm having
see their health, you know?
PTSD right now about Fable and stuff like that.
Yes.
Where you have to get them through the marshes of the graveyard. Yeah.
Why
I don't
are
want
you dying? I said, God damn it,
follow.
follow.
There was always two merchants that need to get through the like haunted area, and you're like,
and the
no,
werewolves and
I don't
whatnot.
want to do this.
The
right
funniest
now.
thing was
the Balverines.
Resident Evil 4, where she just throw in her dumpster and then like go deal with everything else, and then figure it out. And you're like, okay. I guess
So anyway, back to Tomb Raider, the movie.
One thing specifically from the game that I liked was when her dad was stitching her back up.
Yeah.
And it was very much like in the game where it's like you have to like slowly settle back into a camp, because you know throughout the newer games, like every time you go through the map, like you can get to like pretty much a progress point, and that sets up your camp and where you can like start crafting tools or heal yourself up. So it's like, oh, this is the fucking camp zone.
Yeah. Well, the Rusted Plain sequence was totally like a QuickTime event.
Oh
my God,
for sure.
Can we talk about that for a second? Can that transition us into our like favorite parts?
Yeah.
Because that was one of my favorite parts, specifically for one thing, and Tom and I both laughed really hard at it. I think it's our same favorite part. So 6 things in a fucking row happen.
So she's getting shot at.
First of all,
her friend got shot at, and so she's running, and
she falls. She tries to run across the log, and she falls in the river, almost drowns 6 times.
She biffs it, blah, and then falls down.
Yep. She almost drowns like 6 times in that same river. She finally holds on, almost goes over the waterfall.
Well, she's trying to hold on to the tail of the plane.
Yep.
Can't hold on to it. Falls off.
Grabs the wing, climbs up. The wing starts to fall. Has to run across that. Jumps in the plane and is cutting her ropes. And then it starts to sink again. And she turns almost to the camera and goes, "Really?" And right before that, Tom saw my hands go up like in a what the really moment. So
can a sister get a break?
So I audibly laughed louder than I have in a movie theater in a long time.
Well, it's so fun because again, like I hate to keep saying like compared to the video game, like this iteration, I'll call it our Lara Croft now.
Lara,
she is just someone that just gets shitted on and beat up.
It's about perseverance.
After every cutscene, there's a new injury, and she's like, "Oh, well, you're limping now. I guess that's a thing." It's like, what do you mean I'm limping now? I can't run anymore. I can't what the hell? It's like, oh, you just lost.
That's my hindrance.
And not to mention that that's not even the end of it, because the plane falls. She grabs a parachute, hits 20 trees, and then gets stabbed in the gut.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? I loved it. That was probably one of my most favoriteest sequences, besides the one thing I wanted to happen. A lot of the things that I predicted would happen were actually things I were hoping would happen. Like it wasn't predictable in the sense I was like, oh great, now this is gonna happen. I was like, oh my god, is this about to happen right now?
Really cool.
When she got in front of Walton Goggins' character and kicks the ladder so that he can't leave, I was like, fuck yeah, that's baller. You're like, you're not leaving anywhere. And I'm gonna come around, let everyone go, but I want to talk about that last fight.
I for me, like watching Laurel is probably like the most enjoyable thing. Like seeing her grow and develop. Like to me, it's always been, it's not about the hero that's the strongest. It's not even about the ones that's the smartest. It's the one that like keeps going and like has gone through the ringer and like still has, you know, the will to keep going. And I love that because I think that's the true hero story. But I mean, if there's a specific sequence, like liked it when after her and her father had that final argument, she's like, well, I'm still that man's daughter, grabs the arrow, runs off. And then she goes on full video game mode. She's like, I got the arrow. I'm shooting. I'm looking at the camp. And then she sneaks in. I was like, this is fucking dope. And it has like not like a hugely long noticeable oneer, but it has a good oneer shot. And I'm like, cool. They haven't cut yet. Yeah. And so you could see like the blocking and like, it feels like, oh shit, the stakes are like high because she's fucking seeing it through. And she's like, she goes around the camp. I was like, wow. And like the fact that like, she's like smaller, not hugely bodacious. She could freaking squeeze behind things. I'm like, cool. Like you're showing
getting
me
the cover and
stuff. Well, also it's like, it's showing like that, like you don't have to have big boobs and a big ass and all this shit, like to be a fucking badass woman. Like it showed like this, like small petite girl from London who's like kicking ass everywhere. It's like
she did most of her own stunts, which I thought was
a majority of them.
I think,
awesome.
And yet
she couldn't even, the ones that she didn't do were the ones that they literally just deemed that aren't safe.
Yeah, I was going to say, and yet the only ones she didn't do were the ones that they deemed not safe.
Yeah. Thanks you for repeating.
I have to say, I think I have to come off the heels of yours and say that was also my favorite scene was her getting the bow and arrow and that sequence of her just going into camp and being full on Lara Croft.
Yeah.
Like that was for me, I was like, that was the payoff for me of like watching her do that. And I was like, I want this scene to last like 20 minutes longer. Go through and like shoot some dudes in the chest and shoot some dudes.
Just a couple more stealth missions.
Yeah, exactly. A couple more stealth missions and I'll be good to go.
Which is cool because again, like comparing it to the old Lara Croft, old Lara Croft 2 handguns, right? That was like the staple. Like the newer ones that we're more used to now in the last, was it 2013? So last 5 years, arrow. Like bow and arrow.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah. It's not handguns.
Which is my favorite thing
to
use in any video game, by the way.
I don't think she picked up a handgun until the very end.
No, yeah.
So and she used her axe, which is something you utilize a lot in the newer games.
Yeah.
So again, it's nice reimagining
in this one,
but also application. Josh.
Favorite Joshua.
My favorite part was when the credits rolled. No, I'm just kidding. No. It's close to that. It's when
you realize that you can watch it again very soon.
Yeah,
I'm actually
when
going
she gets
tomorrow.
when she gets the 2 guns,
Movie pass.
which are the exact same guns.
Oh yeah,
that Angelina
Jolie
uses. But I really like that. But it's hard for me to pick a favorite part because I have favorite aspects that I liked. The realism of it, I just love so much. Like when they revealed that it wasn't a supernatural thing.
Oh yeah,
and
I was going to talk a bit about that.
It was
really nice.
It was a disease or a virus.
I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I was like, thank you.
Well, the seed planted in the first 10 minutes of the film, where she's going to William Tell, like, well, myths are mostly based on reality, stretched reality. It's that fine line between her dad and Walton Goggins. So her dad's like, all magic is real. There's a curse in the world, and Walton's like, that's bullshit. It's just a thing that people want. Whatever it is, I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
And she's right in the middle where she's like, it's neither. It is something, but it's not quite magic.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that aspect of watching Lara grow throughout the whole thing. I really like what you said, Corey, of it's a perseverance film. It's not like badass. Oh my God, she's having these killer fight scenes. Yeah, backflips over a blah, blah, blah. No, it's like, she earns her stripes.
She's badass because 100%. She decides to pick herself up every time.
Yeah, and one of my favorite lines was her dad saying something about I overestimated, and she said something like my stupidity, and he was like, your bravery.
Yeah,
and it's like that's all bravery is. It's persisting through what's hard. It's with anything in life, it might be hard, but if you persevere through it, you're a fucking baller.
Yep.
And like. That's what I loved about it. It wasn't like, it wasn't trying to build up this weird image of a woman. It was like, persevere.
Yeah.
He's like human.
Yeah,
like, I don't
there
even
was
care
a
if you're
human
a
aspect.
girl or a guy. Like you're telling me an awesome story about growth and perseverance.
With someone without resources, like that shunned away the resources, but built themselves up from the bottom up.
Yeah.
Which was great. I really liked the fact that they explained that it was a disease.
Yeah.
That it wasn't like this magic power, because it could have went Indiana Jones. It could have went like magic.
And it would have been fine.
Or, it could have went like how, like with most of the like Uncharted stuff where it's like, it's not really that at all. It's like usually just, smokes and mirrors.
Well, they play on that too.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they have the corpse sit up for a second,
Yeah.
I was all ready. I was like, oh, I even said hell no when the eyes went all black. I went, hell no.
Oh shit. To me, I was like, because I was ready for both. I was ready for like, this is gonna become The Mummy or Indiana Jones, and I'm totally okay with it. Or this is gonna become like, nah, it's all cool. It's
and
like,
I kept going back and forth in that scene because she starts to decompose. And you're like, oh my God. And then she sits up. You're like, oh no. And then you're like, it's smoke and mirrors. And you're like, oh, thank God. And then the guy's arm starts changing and you go, oh, fuck, that's awesome. Like, it's in the middle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Corey and I literally looked at each other. We're like, it's a plague.
The bubons.
Some kind of plague. It's like something evil, some kind of disease.
It was great. That was a great twist.
Yeah.
Well, I think
And I'm going to call it a twist because.
I don't know. I thought that was pretty.
Well, because the whole film, it's been set up as something like supernatural, like her dad was.
And I love that she read the
sure.
pictures on the wall and she's like, she wasn't forced to come here.
I also like and we've touched on this a little bit, but why I like this as a video game movie is that it really was like all you need. This was just a 2-hour long cutscene of a video game, because there were, like, if you play the Tomb Raider games or Uncharted, I'm sorry that I'm mentioning Uncharted games, but they're very much alike. There's puzzles. And I like that it's like, you have to explain why there's a fucking puzzle in a video game or something like that, and then have it in a movie. It's like, well, if they like to figure things out, it's like, I love puzzle games.
Yeah.
My movie would probably have puzzles. Just kidding.
Well, I think that was something
I
that was
believe in
really,
you, Josh.
something that was really cool.
Spread your wings, baby bird.
And I thought about this the moment she goes into her dad's tomb and then sees like the video and all that stuff. Like, it captured, I think, of the magic and the craze that National Treasure did with Nicolas Cage. Like, and National Treasure was successful. And to me, like, watching that younger, like, I enjoyed a lot of it because there's like these little secrets of normal things that you wouldn't think of having, like open, like secret passageways, or like just like because you're the smarter one that allowed you to move further. Not because you were able to muscle through everything, but because like you were inquisitive and that the puzzle intrigued you, that you were able to like, oh, I'm going to figure this shit out. Like, and just because of everything I know. And I think something that I'll go about this on Qualms, but if there is something to see is like, you get to see her thinking and how all the pieces get connected. So,
the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick was the death scene of Walton Goggins' character. First of all, one of the most brutal hits I've ever seen in a movie.
Shock.
That hit to the jaw, like shoving that in his mouth and
force
palming his jaw and just looking at him and being like, I'm not wearing hockey pads.
I'm dead. I have the plague now.
So no, but seriously, in all seriousness,
slow clap.
In all seriousness, I think I audibly made a sound when she did that.
Shit.
I said out loud,
oh shit too.
I went, oh shit, because it was very like almost Daniel Craig, James Bondy, the way that the fight choreography. There was a few moments in this, and I can't remember specifically because my mind can only see that now. But I thought to myself, like,
I can only see hockey pads.
This fight choreography is very a la like John Wick. It's very, it's almost brutal, but very well choreographed and beautiful at the same time.
Beautifully elegant.
I thought it was the most badass thing I've ever seen in a movie that hit. For some reason, it stuck with me so hard.
You guys, everyone in the room knows, but I don't know if anyone at home already knows, but I did a little bit of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and seeing some of her turns and moves, I was like, oh, this is badass. She knew. She knew.
And we were talking about the foreshadowing in the beginning of the film where she gets in a headlock in the beginning of the film.
And she can't get out. She doesn't know how to get out.
The second time she gets in it, she bites the guy. So it's like a cheap out. And the third time, Walton Goggins puts it in it and she flips him.
Yeah.
And then grapples on the ground and gets him in that choke. And I was like, that's fucking great development. That's awesome.
Yeah, she grows as the movie goes on.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about that because I can't get past that hit. That was probably one of my favorite moments, actually.
Are we going to do Qualmy Qualms?
We're going to do a little Qualmy Qualms.
Little Qualm Qualm?
So I'll go first because mine's actually like I come from this from like a film standpoint, but like with the character and development, the story and everything like that, I don't have problems with that at all. My only problems, I guess, for qualms would be the opening with opening dialogue. I don't think most films should start out with opening dialogue. That typically just
it was repeated.
For God's sake, never have
yeah,
voiceover.
it was a little repetitive. Exactly,
I agree.
adaptation.
No matter how silky smooth Dominic West's voice is.
Yeah.
That just tells me that you needed more exposition time. If you need to do anything in voiceover,
It could have started in the ring.
yeah. And the thing I didn't like as well was I don't know how many times I need to see her flashback multiple times. I got it like the first time. I didn't need to see it like trickled in every single time she thought about something.
That was, I think that'll kind of contribute a little bit to my qualms as well. Where like I think
the only one you needed to see one
inserted
more time is when she's figuring it out.
Yeah.
And he said some myths.
It was
are based in
inserted
reality.
to, I think, like as a placeholder for them not having enough running time
Possibly
to go deeper into.
I'm gonna say like this: the best films that I think did the best like flashbacks of things that we just saw.
Memento.
I guess
You guess?
Memento. I'm just saying like the ones.
The look on Corey's face just
I mentioned
now.
a Nolan film about flashbacks where the flashbacks literally
But
change the
you're gonna-
dynamic
you're
of the
gonna
scene, and
listen-
you say, "I guess."
You're gonna listen to me. Listen to me when I say this. Listen to me when I say this. Usual Suspects.
Okay.
And then Saw 1.
And Memento.
After that shit, keep drizzling it in. I'm just like, stop. I watched the movie. I was here 30 minutes ago. I remember that.
Memento doesn't
You
even
don't-
make sense without
Hey,
the
member?
flashbacks. The whole movie's flashbacks.
The way that the film is made is through flashbacks. So I wouldn't say it's used
So
as
you
the
can't
device.
count it
As a device at the very end.
flashback device.
Because like Usual Suspects isn't shown in flashbacks.
You just said
Saw-
flashback device. Okay.
okay.
You just said best use of flashbacks, and I got so hurt.
Okay, because that's the way the film's made. Anyways, going back. So those are my two qualms. This is the opening dialogue. I felt like you could have just left it alone and then done it some way better.
Okay.
And then drizzling in flashbacks like every 30, 40 minutes. Every 30 minutes, I'm like, stop.
Stop.
I remember it.
Yeah.
I saw it the first time.
Hey, member?
Oh,
like the first.
remember when he put his fingers on her forehead? Daddy loves you. Remember?
Although when he died at the end, I was like,
When he said, "Remember,
feels-
Dad loves you," I was like, "I remember."
I was like, oh shit! I was like, that was rough. That hurt me. That hurt me a little bit.
They're great. They have good father-daughter chemistry on screen.
But I'm
Again.
done. Josh,
You're done?
Do you have any?
Joshua.
So at first, I would say like when I was driving away from the movie theater and I was thinking about it, because sometimes I have to really work hard to find a qualm.
Mhm.
Like I'm like, oh man, Tom's gonna want me to have a qualm. No, Grandpa Tom.
Man, Tom's gonna make me want to hate this. What
This is
I
your
gotta
homework.
No, so at first, what I would say is,
do? He's gonna look me in the eye and say, "What did you hate this for?"
Look at me with the small beady eyes.
at first, I didn't like Walton Goggins' characters.
Pants.
Arc.
Hairline.
Jesus.
Pants.
He had very white clothes.
Yeah, because that's
for
what
a
a villain
dirty
should
environment.
wear.
Motivation.
But that's what a villain should
Stuck out
wear.
to me.
It's very. It's Belloc from Indiana Jones. He
Yeah,
wears like
yeah.
a white suit the
Yeah.
whole movie.
His motivation at first, I was like, really? His evilness is brought to him because he wants to get home to see his family.
Brought to you by
Human-
family.
Brought to you by Bing, family.
Human desperation.
I
Yeah.
know. And so after we've had this discussion and I am open to other people's views.
Don't look at me and say
I'm
like I'm open
right
to
in
other
the
people's
eyes.
ideas. It's like
He's
I'm open.
to boom, Tom, other people's ideas.
I'm like, excuse you.
No,
Sometimes
okay.
I might be wrong. Maybe.
So my other qualm-ish thing, and I don't know if this is a character flaw of my own.
Usually is.
It probably is. I'll be perfectly honest. It probably is. When I watch a movie, maybe it's because I have seen so many movies and I don't know how you would handle it better, but the Trinity bad guy of it being like, who is it? Like this, we don't know who it is. When he first started talking about this mysterious person that he was talking to on the phone, I already knew who it was. And I don't know how you would handle doing that better, because I think of it from a.
You already knew it was what's her name?
I knew it was what's her name. Not.
Anna.
I didn't play the video game,
Mhm.
and I know that they hint at it or something like that, but I didn't know.
Mhm.
But with this movie, I was like, yeah, it's her. So when they revealed it, I was like, everybody, I knew that.
I thought it was the other dude.
Me too.
What other dude?
The old guy.
The bearded man. So you know how they were signing the papers and
There's
there was
three people
Anna
over
on
there.
one
Yeah,
side,
yeah.
there was the other dude.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing until she said, you should be in charge of that stuff. And I went, oh, she fucked up.
It was he was too. To me, I think
I
he
was
was
only
too
2
small of a
seconds ahead.
character for it to be a hint for me.
Mm.
And like, yeah, he's a bigger actor that I'm like, oh, it's that guy. It's that guy. He's in everything British. No.
What was that one more time?
You sound like you're from London.
You sound like you're from London, mate.
Oi.
Anyway, oi.
Pep yo B.
No, it.
What she says.
I
oi.
think from a writing standpoint,
Kids.
I
you're
like
not
that.
going to introduce a new character after 3/4 of the film.
Well,
Like a new person, and so I was
Yeah.
like, okay, so it's not the lawyer guy. Okay, it's Anna. Right when they first started talking about there's this thing, but here's the thing: that could be a character flaw. It could be that I read too far into it, and
I would say that's your strength instead. I wouldn't say that's a flaw. I remit my last statement.
It's your literacy in film.
Well, you understand the film language, but also like that's a good mystery mechanism. Like I hate mysteries when they don't give you all the proper tools. Like, don't show me this shit that I should have known, but then you gave it to me in a flashback that you just showed. And I was like, how was I supposed to fucking connect that shit? Instead, they showed me a fucking character in the beginning, and then they got all this shit up. It's like, oh, that character was, I guess, a throwaway. Or it wasn't a throwaway.
or is it?
Exactly. So, I mean, like, no, that's good detective skills on your end. You understand the language, and I think that's good for the film. Like, boom, here's your character. That's all you're going to need.
Like when I watch whodunits, those kinds of shows, I usually know who it is. Just by knowing all the characters and like kind of analyzing. And so it's one of those.
Quite the mentalist, Josh.
Anyway, that was, and again, that's a writing. I don't know if that's something that can be fixed. I think
just
it's
your
done.
film literacy.
But I would say to you,
Your film literacy showing.
Your qualm would be
Thank
that it was too predictable.
Yeah.
That's
It
fine.
was too predictable that was a, but here's the thing. It doesn't take it away from me.
Mhm.
I'm like, you know what? Like Corey said, if there's Tomb Raider 2, which I'm pretty sure there's going to be,
Oh my God.
I'm fucking
I'm there.
As I've always said, it's not what happens, it's how they do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I know this shit's gonna happen, but it's like, how are they gonna weave the story back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's gonna
I
be
mean,
the
I
whole
knew
part.
Dad was going to die.
Yeah.
I
Well, he
mean,
has to.
He can't.
It was
come back.
sad. I mean, it was like something sad's
But
going to
how?
have to
He's
happen.
not.
did it
He's
well.
not. He's
Yeah,
not Green Arrow.
But how? Yeah.
He's not Green Arrow.
And I
He
like
can't
that
come
they
back.
didn't give you the like. There's no way someone's like, "Well, she could have saved him." No.
No, he had to
I
go.
like that kind of stuff. I hate
I
kind
mean,
of
if
movies where
the-
you're like, why didn't you just fucking pick him up?
I mean, if this was
Yeah,
a
right.
TV show, he might have like chopped off his arm and then made it off the island, but then died going back home or something
Yeah.
like that.
No,
Like,
something.
I liked it. I liked how it was done.
It was well done, and yeah.
Oh, any qualms?
My qualm, honestly, I mean, like a little bit of here and there of what you guys have been talking about, but mainly, I saw it in the trailer, and I was worried that I saw it in the trailer, and I was happy that I wasn't like really part of the movie. It was at the very end.
The two
Just
guns. I'll
her
take
holding
two.
two guns.
Mhm.
I was like, I feel like they don't need to do that.
it was a fan service.
It
It's
was
fan
fan
service.
service. I get it, but it's like I'm surprised Square allowed that, and I feel like
Because it's the old.
It was way outside of her character too. Like,
yeah, it's like,
she's
why-
grown, but come on, she's not that
To be
grown
fair,
yet.
to
Like,
be
why
fair,
do you
she
need
got
two guns
stranded
right
on
now?
an island with assault rifles being shot at her for 90% of the film. I'd probably be like,
Right.
I should get a gun. You know, I'll get two.
Yeah.
I'll get two.
I guess like
That's
I'll
the only
accept
way I
that.
could justify it.
But
But
I-
she's in London now.
Yeah.
And she has to be all stealthy and like
she does
figure
have
stuff
Trinity within her.
out.
They're
Right.
everywhere.
So I guess she does need protection, but
Well,
like
I-
two
I-
massive gun like hand
But here's
cannons.
the thing: that was an accident. She just saw it through. She was just there to get her
Yeah.
her jewelry back, and she saw him. She was like, "Oh, hey."
But then she has the old school, little ponytail.
It was
thing.
paired with that too, which I was like, because they had that at the end of the
I was
trailer.
like, she might as well have the sunglasses
like,
come
oh.
down and the
right.
and the little toothpick.
and the
But,
polygon boobs.
yeah, exactly.
but I mean, to your
But
point,
that
which
was
is,
the only part that was
it is interesting that Square allowed that. It's
Yeah.
very interesting because that
Yeah.
shows like the old iteration.
Right.
But it's
Well,
cool
I think it's
that they honored
a
it. still.
homage.
Yeah.
A
yeah, it's
homage.
like you worked so hard to like detach yourself from that, and then
They allowed
you
it.
had that in there.
But I think they
but I get it
know.
for fan service.
I think they know that in some way you still have to give honor to the character.
I kind of
Yeah.
compare it to in the first Iron Man, where he looks at the War Machine thing and he goes, next
Next
time.
time.
yeah. But
And I was like,
right.
fuck you.
Well, I mean, to that note, though, I hope that it doesn't become that because War Machine actually happens. in
Yeah,
Iron
that's
Man.
true.
I don't want her to all of a sudden like become Angelina Jolie's character.
One thing I don't like doing on this show is ever speculating for sequels, because then it just gets debunked the sequel time it comes out. It shows me how dumb I am. But I would love for like the next one, if like fucking Lou Ren and her come from a mission and all that shit, and she's like wearing the shorts, she looks like all blah blah. She's like, I'm never wearing this again.
Yeah,
like, something like that. Where so it's like she did do it for a stint, and then she's like, I'm done. Like pants all day.
This makes no sense at all.
Yeah. Or like
comfortable
she makes
pants.
A joke about how cold she was the whole time.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
My qualm. Again, I agree with a lot of what you guys were saying. But I wanted more Lou.
Yeah.
Because he's great. What he's in during that time, like I would say, like what is it? The first third of the movie, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he very much disappears.
Yeah. He's just gone.
Because it's not Lara Croft.
And he's just, it cuts back to him. He goes, where's Lara? And then it cuts away for another 45 minutes and it cuts back to him. And everyone's like, we're with you. And he's like, okay, where's Lara? And then it's gone for another 45 minutes.
That's a very good Chinese accent you're doing.
It cuts back to him and they're like,
Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
they cut back to the guys and he's like, you guys go. And they're like, no, your dad was great. And he's like, okay, let's find Lara. And I was like really bummed out because I love him so much. Like he was such a great like counterpart to hers, like a great right-hand man. And they just kind of threw him away. I feel like there was stuff that was cut.
He's like a good Chewie to her Han.
Yeah, and I'm hoping this is another reason I want a second one, is because I think they understand what they have on their hands with their dynamic. They just couldn't fit it in because he couldn't go in the tomb, because if he went in the tomb, they'd be like, there's 3 of us and 3 of them. Like we're super cool.
Often like my qualms for wanting deeper character insight stem from, I think, just the fact that I just want a sequel.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
it's not
like,
even,
and I was pleasantly surprised by the writing and the dialogue
and direction.
It's it's not even that I want more Lou. It's more I want the 2 of them.
The 2 of them.
Or I want that like really Chewie Han dynamic. I want her being badass and stuff like that, but he's just like, got your back if you need it.
I think
I'll rip someone's arm off their socket.
I think that's actually like a pretty popular qualm that most people have, is that like this film should probably just started with a sequel. Like just when.
But I don't agree.
I mean that's some opinions, I think, is like just because like again my big thing is like, oh, you have to do like the origins films are great.
We've had 3 Spidey origins. We can have 1 other Lara Croft origin.
Of course.
Well, the nice thing,
I would say like the great thing about origins is that you get a cool hero arc, right? You get, and then you have everything going through and all that stuff. But then like it's also limited based on the fact that it's an origin.
Yes.
Like it's limited based on the fact that you have to have them go through the thing.
We have to focus on.
Well, I think that's what makes
Lara.
That's what makes Dark Knight so good.
Yeah.
Is that it's believable.
Yeah.
That he can do all these things.
Now we've showed you they can do it.
Right.
It's the same thing we've been saying on here, where it's Empire Strikes Back.
It's Empire.
Like we've gotten the exposition out of the way. So I mean that's what I would like to see more of, is just more of her being badass and him being like, I got you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
so now
sequel. So now your other favorite part.
We rate it.
Rating.
Out of 5 stars, right?
5 stars.
Yeah, 5 stars.
So Josh, you go first since it's my favorite part.
No, you go first.
I'll go first. 3.75.
Nice.
Okay.
That's where it's at. It was a fun popcorn movie. I'm gonna see it again. Hashtag movie past life. But I had a lot of fun. I want to go see it with my wife. I think she'll love it. There was a great mix of like, not being scared of being sentimental at times. There was a good mix of action. There was no scene where I was like, this fucking scene sucks. Like every scene I was like in it. I was 100% in it from start to finish. I had audible reactions to things. I jumped at one point when they hit her on the back of the head on the beach. I didn't see the guy in the shadows. I jumped.
Oh, really?
I jumped.
That's why you hit me? Okay.
I hit you hella hard because I was like, dude, I just fucking jumped in a Tomb Raider movie.
I jumped with the corpse eyeballs. I was like, oh.
Oh, okay. But like, yeah, I was thoroughly enjoyed the whole time.
You were enjoyed?
Yeah. I was thoroughly enjoyed.
I enjoyed him. I enjoyed him all to myself.
But
we sat in the back.
The only reason I don't give it a 4 is, again, the amount of flashbacks. Because at one point I was like, we saw this scene 5 times. Again, I agree with the opening with the dialogue that we hear again. If we didn't hear it again, totally fine.
It was odd.
But we literally hear the whole thing again.
Yeah.
So there was just a few things that I would change. So I give it 3.75.
3.75.
Good popcorn flick, y'all.
Josh.
It's in the book.
Just rate it what you want.
I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Okay.
There you go.
That's good.
It's a 3.5.
3.5.
Proud of you, man.
And
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna give you a hug.
oh my God, he's
ASMR
giving me a
rating
hug.
has been
In the
brought
middle of the
to
recording.
Corey's hugs.
We don't have labs for this.
I mean, it would go along with my qualmies. My qualmies, I think, for me, they're big enough that I'm like, it takes it a little bit away. I don't want it to be too. I don't want to be able to guess. You know what I mean? But again, it's probably a character flaw. So I'm giving it a 3.5 out of my own character flaw.
That's fair.
Mr. Ali.
My review is going to reflect what I said earlier
Uh-huh.
in this episode,
This
or whatever, in this session.
Yes.
Which is that I think this is one of the best Tomb Raider movies that we could possibly hope for.
Can I change it?
And video game movies.
Best video game movie we've
hope
gotten in a
for.
long time.
For what they had to work with the cast and the writing and the direction, I was going to give it a 3.5. And then I was like, you know what? My super crush, Alicia Vikander's in it. So I'm going to give it a 4.
There you go.
Nice.
4.
I'm gonna give it a 3.85.
Wait a minute.
You just
Reason being, I'm gonna say it like this:
0.1% above me.
We need to establish our scale.
3.85, and I'm gonna say like something I think I didn't mention in Qualm. Like, I in the sequel, I hope it gets a sequel, but also I hope in a sequel they establish a theme.
I really want to change mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A theme would be nice.
A theme, like I want to hear the Lara Croft theme.
Yeah.
I think I want a 3.8. I think it
3.8?
deserves another 0.3.
Fuck you. Now I'm the grump.
Corey, go over there, take back your hug.
I'm going to take back my hug right now. Take it back. You can't take it back.
You took back the hug.
I feel weaker.
It's been tooked.
I taste metal.
I think
It's so cold.
I smell pennies.
I think I would also want a little bit more like grander shots. Wally Pfister was really good about doing that, doing good intimate shots, but also making good grandeur shots. I think this one could use some of that, and maybe if they get a sequel, they get a bigger budget.
You know
to
what?
do that.
Yeah, you're right. You're reminding me of some of my other qualms with it. So I'm going to reel my review back to a 3.75.
Okay.
But
You can have your hug back.
No, get the fuck down. Done with
that
this
was
hug
my other
shit.
thing where I didn't feel like, I don't know if it was the director or just like the color palette or what it was, but it just didn't feel like epic in any way, which is like, I could appreciate that, but it was like stuck in the middle. Like it didn't really decide what it was going for. Because I had the slow-mo, using the hook to grab onto the ledge thing, but then
There were lots of slow-mo scenes. That's another little qualm. It was like slow-mo.
I feel like some parts of it's like it's like A writing, A acting,
Yeah.
but with B aesthetics.
right.
Maybe
Maybe it's the budget. I don't know. It had 90 million, I think.
yeah. So I think it's
that a
typically the
lot?
budget. It's average.
All in
Average.
all, we probably an average of 3.8 is our rating of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty good.
It's like 3.6 because he's like 3.5. So
I was 3.75.
Yeah, he was 3.75.
oh, so wait, 3.75 and I'm the high.
Yeah, you're
Everyone's
the high.
3.75. I'm the high. Okay, yeah.
He's 3.8.
And I'm 3.85. You're 3.75.
75.
Oh yeah, 3.8. You're right.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that concludes our episode today.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do we
everyone, for
feel
listening.
complete?
I do.
Yeah.
Y'all go see it.
Go see it.
see
It's
it.
fun.
If you haven't yet, go back before you listen to this. Pause the podcast. I know it's playing near you, 2 hours away, whatever it is.
But
Yeah.
also,
If you like action,
yeah.
if you're attracted to
And tell us
strong
your
female-
favorite stuff.
I mean,
you're
like,
attracted to a strong female lead.
I'll
Is that what you're
reiterate
saying?
again. I think it's important that girls of this next generation have these strong characters.
Oh, absolutely.
In
Well,
the media,
also
like
that-
the girls from Black Panther, like Wonder Woman, like Lara Croft.
Well, also just for guys to see it too, because I think it's a time
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
guys to be re-educated too. Yeah.
Re-educated. Yes.
100%. Thank you for
Everybody
listening,
at
everyone.
home, thank you
Yeah.
for listening.
you.
If you are new to the show, you can gather all the information that you need about us at our website, nerdonthepodcast.com.
We stream, we play video games, we talk about stuff. It's fun.
Yeah.
We go eat places sometimes.
We are starting to branch out in what we do, and there's a lot of video content that is coming.
By this time, we are big boys.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, we're big boys.
Yeah, we are.
We are big boys.
Big boy pants or big boy short shorts.
We finally have our URL at YouTube.
Yeah.
If we're gonna shout out
occasion.
one URL. We'll do this one. youtube.com/nerdonthepodcast.
Boom.
Took us a while, but we finally got it. We have the credentials.
It's ours.
By this time, a new show we have on Fridays, Game Bite. You know, check
Yes.
that out,
Yep.
please.
Game Bite is a part of our content stuff. Check it out. You listening right now is the number one way that you can support us.
Also, if you'd like to do more, you know, as some people, as the cool kids say, destroy that like, subscribe, whatever button it is.
Share it.
Smash to whatever it is, and the little bell thing.
Subscribe, hit notifications
yeah,
so
if
you
you-
know when we go live.
Yeah,
you know
if you
when we
like our
post
stuff,
videos.
yeah, if you want to know more or know when we do it.
Or if you don't, but also do that.
Yeah.
Subscribe,
Throw us
whatever.
some support.
And also a thing too, it's like, you know, we like hearing from you. So like comment
Yeah,
on things.
reach
too.
out.
Like comment
Let
and tell
know
us what you like, what you don't
Let us know
like,
what you- yeah, exactly.
everything.
Yeah.
Hit us up, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff.
As always,
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.